Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're sorting through a whole heap of tech developments you sent over. It's quite a mix, actually.
It really is.
We've got some pretty big legal challenges for the major players, and then this just constant rapid evolution in AI and immersive tech.
Yeah, it's moving fast.
So our mission today is basically to cut through all that noise, pull out the really key insights, and help make sense of, well, where things are headed.
Exactly. And you've given us a lot to work with. Court rulings,
Sure.
big funding rounds, new product stuff we'll be digging into, antitrust pressures on Google and Meta,
Right.
some surprising AI moves from OpenAI, infinite reality, places like that, and then real steps forward in VR and AR/XR, as we call it.
Okay, let's dive in. And yeah, those legal battles feel like the right place to start. You flagged the Google rulings and the Meta trial. Feels like maybe a moment of reckoning for big tech.
It certainly feels significant,
Right.
especially for Google, getting hit twice, basically. Just recently, April 17th, the federal judge said, yep, they've got an illegal monopoly in ad tech.
Ad tech, okay.
And that followed an earlier ruling back in August 2024 about their search business.
Yeah, the one about paying to be the default search engine, right?
Exactly that one.
Yeah.
So this latest ruling, the ad tech one, what did the judge specifically point to?
Good question. What was the specific finding there?
The main point was that Google illegally tied its publisher ad server to its ad exchange, linked them together.
Okay.
And by doing that, the court found they basically squeezed out competitors and ended up holding on to like over 90% of the market in those key areas. What do you even do with that kind of number?
90%. I mean, that's just dominant, isn't it? It's hard to picture competition at that level. So what's Google's plan now? Are they just accepting it?
Oh, no, not at all. As you'd probably guess, they've already said they're appealing both decisions, both the search one and this new ad tech one.
Okay. So this legal fight is going to drag on for a while then.
Looks that way.
Yeah.
And the outcome could really shake up online ads and, how we find stuff online.
Definitely one to keep watching. Okay, let's shift focus, but stay on antitrust Meta. Mark Zuckerberg testified for 3 days. That must have been something.
It really must have been. And it gave us a glimpse, supposedly, into their thinking behind buying Instagram and WhatsApp way back when.
Right, 2012 for Instagram, 2014 for WhatsApp. The FTC's argument is basically they bought them to kill off competition, right? The whole buy or bury idea.
That's the core accusation. Yeah, that it wasn't just smart business. It was about eliminating threats to their social networking dominance.
So how did Zuckerberg push back on that? Because, I mean, those buys did make them stronger competitors.
Well, his main line of defense was that these were just, strategic investments in a really fast-moving competitive market. He kept pointing to TikTok and YouTube.
As proof that there is competition.
Exactly. He even brought up something interesting, apparently, back in 2018. They actually talked internally about maybe spinning off Instagram.
Really? Spinning off Instagram?
Yeah, because of some early antitrust worries, apparently. What does that tell you? That they even considered it?
Wow, a spin-off. That's huge. The whole social media world would look completely different today. What else came out of his testimony? Any other sort of insights?
Well, he did admit Meta was kind of slow to catch on to how big a threat TikTok was becoming.
Uh-huh.
And there were talks inside Meta about, get this, maybe an all-ad feed for Facebook.
An all-ad feed, seriously?
Yeah, and also maybe resetting people's friend connections to try and, re-engage them.
Resetting friend connections. Wow, those sound like pretty extreme ideas.
Yeah.
Almost like maybe they weren't feeling so secure in their position.
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It definitely had some nuance. It wasn't maybe as simple as the FTC's Bury claim suggests.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was.
Yeah, it paints a more complex picture. So the court has to weigh his we're just competing argument against the FTC, saying, no, you actively squashed competition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes you think, though, doesn't it? How much oversight should there be for these huge tech buyouts, especially when you can't really predict the future market?
It's a tough balance, for sure. Okay, let's pivot. Let's talk AI. Lots happening there. You mentioned OpenAI maybe getting into social networking. That sounds unexpected.
Yeah, it's definitely intriguing. Sounds like they're testing an internal prototype just for employees right now, maybe.
A social network prototype. What's the angle?
The reports say it's focused around ChatGPT's image generation, the part that makes pictures from text prompts.
Okay. So, a social site built around sharing AI-generated images, kind of like an Instagram, but for AI stuff.
Sort of seems that way, yeah. A novel idea. And apparently Sam Altman's been asking for feedback on it.
But is it going to be its own app or part of ChatGPT? Do we know?
That's the big question. Still unclear. Standalone or integrated.
Yeah.
Either way, you can see the strategy,
That's
right? Exactly. It gives OpenAI a direct line to tons of user data, user content.
All right.
Just like X or Meta use their user content to train their AI models.
Right. Data is the fuel. And speaking of users, didn't Altman casually drop that ChatGPT has like 800 million monthly users now?
They just sort of slipped it in there. 800 million. That's a massive reach, especially for how relatively new it still feels.
Incredible numbers. Okay, sticking with AI players, Infinite Reality or IR, they've been busy buying companies, haven't they? Latest one is Touchcast.
That's right, a $500 million deal, cash and stock, for Touchcast, which does AI avatars.
AI avatars, okay. $500 million. Remind us, what's Infinite Reality's main thing?
They're building metaverse platforms.
Yeah.
Those shared virtual worlds.
Yeah.
And buying Touchcast lets them add what they're calling agentic AI.
Agentic AI, meaning?
Basically, smarter, more interactive, AI-powered avatars within their metaverse spaces, making the virtual characters feel more alive, more responsive.
Got it. And this comes after IR raised a huge amount of money recently, didn't they?
They did. A $3 billion funding round. Puts their valuation way up there, $12.25 billion.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, they've clearly got the cash to spend. And Touchcast isn't the only one. They also bought Napster.
The Napster.
Yep, and LandVault and Zappar, all for pretty hefty sums. It really shows this trend, Metaverse companies are grabbing AI capabilities as fast as they can.
It absolutely feels like an AI arms race across all tech sectors. And you also sent over notes on a whole bunch of smaller AI startups getting funding for really specific things.
Exactly. It shows how much diverse innovation is bubbling up. Like, take Lodi AI in Seattle.
Okay, Lodi AI, what do they do?
Deepfake detection. They just got another $16.2 million, so they're up to $23 million total. They started protecting, famous people, but now they're expanding to help regular consumers, too.
Protecting digital identity, like finding fake videos or voice clones of you.
Exactly that. Detecting and removing unauthorized deepfakes, voice stuff, and they're partnering with big talent agencies like WME and CAA.
That seems incredibly important right now with deepfakes getting so convincing. What other startups?
Yeah, there's Nexad in San Francisco. They raised $6 million for an AI-native ad platform.
AI-native ads, how does that work?
Their idea is to embed ads directly into AI systems. So think chatbots or AI search agents showing you dynamically generated ads right in the conversation or results. They claim it gets higher engagement because it's super relevant, context-aware. They're already working with places like is.ai and Monica.am.
What do you think about AI becoming the ad delivery system itself?
Definitely a shift. Ads generated by the AI based on the immediate context could be powerful, could also be, well, a bit much, maybe.
Could be. Then you've got Wonder over in London. They raised $3 million. They're building an AI-first creative studio.
For film and interactive stuff.
Yeah. Trying to use AI to slash production costs, generate high-quality visuals. You've got partnerships with Campfire Studios, 11 Labs, the voice AI people, DeepMind, OpenAI,
Yeah.
even Activision Blizzard.
AI studios. It's happening fast. And one more, Horire AI, right, from Turkey. Got an undisclosed investment, but at a $12 million valuation. They have a platform called Genomit.
Genomit.
Yeah, you feed it a short script, and it spits out a cinematic video.
Yeah.
AI generates the characters' environments, camera shots, everything, and keeps it consistent.
Automatically generates a movie from a script. Wow.
The CEO called it the beginning of the unicorn journey. So high hopes there.
Ambitious.
Yeah.
It really shows how AI is lowering the barrier to creating all sorts of media. And it's not just creation, right? AI is getting big in training too, especially using XR.
Absolutely. That partnership between dedicated computing and Virgin Ears is a great example.
What are they doing together?
Combining Virgin Ears' really high-end VR headsets and simulators like the Xtal and Somnium VR1 with dedicated computing's powerful simulation computers.
For what purpose?
Flight training. They're creating these portable, high-performance XR training setups. They're TAA compliant, which is important for government contracts.
Okay.
And they support really realistic physics, real-time feedback.
Yeah.
Good for military and commercial pilot training.
So pilots doing more initial training in super realistic VR sims powered by AI. Makes sense. Safer. Probably cheaper in the long run. Okay, let's push further into immersive experiences. Universal's Epic Universe. It finally has an opening date.
It does. May 22nd, 2025. Get ready. It's a massive $7 billion project, remember? Over 100 acres.
Huge investment, especially, with the economy being a bit shaky globally. That's confidence.
It really is. And 5 big immersive lands planned.
5 lands, right. Remind me what they are.
Okay, you've got Celestial Park, that's kind of the central hub. Then Super Nintendo World,
Definitely excited for that one.
How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk, The Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, and Dark Universe,
Yeah.
focused on the classic monsters. Which one jumps out at you?
Oh, man, they all sound pretty amazing. Nintendo, Harry Potter. The dragon one could be cool, too. Any specific rides we know about?
Yeah, a few highlights. There's an AR-enhanced Mario Kart ride, Bowser's Challenge,
Augmented reality, Mario Kart. Okay.
a dueling roller coaster called Stardust Racers, and a big Harry Potter dark ride, Battle at the Ministry, apparently mixing stuff from the main movies, and Fantastic Beasts.
Sounds like they're really pushing the tech integration. And speaking of cutting-edge tech, brain-computer interfaces, BCIs. That still sounds like sci-fi.
It does, but the progress is real. Georgia Tech researchers, they've made a BCI that's incredibly tiny.
Well, how tiny?
Small enough to fit between hair follicles on your scalp.
Seriously, between hairs, how does that even work?
It uses microneedles and flexible wires to pick up brain signals just under the skin. Less invasive, better signal quality, apparently.
Wow. Okay, so super tiny BCI, what can it actually do?
Well, in tests, people used it to control augmented reality video calls with, like, 96.4% accuracy, just by thinking.
Controlling AR calls with your mind.
And it worked for up to 12 hours. So you can see potential uses, maybe not too far off assistive tech, new ways to interact with computers. What comes to mind for you?
It's mind-blowing, really. The lines are blurring fast. Okay, let's loop back to AI's role in actually creating immersive content. Animation, VR.
Right, so Curious Refuge had their first AI animation competition.
Oh, yeah.
The key rule, all the visuals had to be AI generated. And the winning films like Late and Graveyard apparently really show what's possible creatively now.
Artists using AI as a core part of the process. Cool.
Right.
What about established VR companies, like location-based VR?
Sandbox VR is doing really well. They've passed $200 million in lifetime sales, had a strong 2024.
Wow.
And they're expanding like crazy. 127 new places planned, mostly franchises. They're moving beyond just games to cultural learning stuff.
Yeah.
And Gen Z is like 40% of their audience now.
Makes sense.
Plus, they did that Squid Game VR experience with Netflix.
Right. Leveraging big IP. It seems like the franchise model works for getting VR arcades out there. What about VR at home? Anything new for Quest users?
Yeah, Titanic VR just hit early access on Quest 3. Uses the new chip in there for really detailed graphics.
Titanic VR, what do you do?
Right now, you can explore the shipwreck in a little submarine. But they're adding an experience mode later where you live through the sinking in 1912 as a survivor.
Whoa. That sounds intense. Immersive, definitely.
And Vinova is also doing cool stuff with cinematic VR. They released 2 new experiences, Shark Karma and Weightless.
Using their Present Z format, right. What's special about that?
It allows 6 degrees of freedom, 60 OF, so you can actually move around inside the volumetric movie scene.
So you're not just looking around from one spot. You can walk around a bit.
Exactly. And they say it reduces motion sickness and works with normal 3D graphics tools. Shark Karma is this animated ocean thing with an environmental message, got support from WildAid. Both are on Steam VR.
So proper explorable movies without the usual VR nausea. That's a big step. Okay, last big topic. Apple. AR glasses are still the goal, it seems.
That's the word, according to Mark Gurman anyway. He reports Tim Cook is laser-focused on getting AR glasses out before Meta does.
His top product priority, more than anything else.
Apparently so. Vision Pro, the headset they just launched, is seen more as like a stepping stone towards those glasses.
Right, the developer kit, essentially.
Kind of. But there are still huge hurdles, you know? Making them lightweight, getting tiny high-res displays, powerful chips that don't cook your head, batteries that last. It's tough.
Yeah, the physics are challenging. So Vision Pro is here, but the real Apple AR revolution might still be those glasses whenever they arrive. Okay, wow, we've covered a ton of ground.
We really have.
Yeah.
From courtrooms and regulators hassling big tech to this explosion of AI investment and innovation everywhere. Ads, movies, avatars, training, and then all the progress in making immersive tech more real, more engaging, from theme parks to headsets to, well, brain interfaces.
It's a lot to take in, so maybe a final thought to leave people mulling over. With all this change happening so fast, how do you see the power balance shifting in tech over the next few years? And maybe more personally, which of these emerging technologies do you think will actually hit home and change daily life the most?
Good question.
It's clear this mashup of AI, legal fights, and immersive experiences is reshaping things constantly. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.